if I was to cut, I am creating a file called count, right? And I'm putting a marker to stop. Right? So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I cut on count, so count is a file we created, right? With the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I put 12 purposely because when you do head on count, it just shows the first 10 lines, 1 to 10. Then, if we do tail on the file, tail starts to record from the bottom of the file. So the top of the file is from 1. So it'll count the first 10 lines, right? It will go up to 10. And tail will start from the bottom of the file now, and it will count up this way. So let's say I want to do it easy, 1, 2, 3. So I want to tail the last 3 items in the, okay, if I do tail without any options on count, it tails the last 10 lines, right? So 12 take 10 is 2, but we had to include the 1 on 10, so that's how we get 3. So it's 10 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 10 counts. If I was to head and give it an option, so let me clear the screen. So if I'll count again, cut count. So it's 1 to 12. If I was to head, let's say the first 5 lines, that will be 1 to 5 of count. If I was to tail, meaning read the file from the bottom, let's say the last 3, okay, the last 2 on count, that'll just be 11, 12, because we tail counts from the bottom of the file go up. Head starts from the top of the file come down. That's the head tail command. We did cut already is to concatenate. You can create a file using the cut command, which is cut, redirect your output into a file, right, which is test, and you can put a custom marker, which will be less than symbol, and you can put any word and it will stop the count. So I use stop. Let's say I use Sidu, right? It means that this will keep reading the file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But from the time I type Sidu, because this is my end marker, the system will recognize Sidu means stop recording, right? Stop entering information into the file. So when I hit enter now, it closes. If I cut on test, notice Sidu came before 5, so it will be 1 to 5, right? So this Sidu here is a custom marker, right? So that's a custom end marker. Now in cutting files now, so if I cut count, it's this here. If I head count, it's the first 10. If I tail count, it's the last 10. But what if we tuck it now? Cut is C-A-T, that's cut. How the other command came about is we reversed it. So if we start with C-A-T, the last letter was T, and then A, and then C. So instead of C-A-T, left to right, we actually read now from right to left, T-A-C. And that's how they get this command, T-A-C. And what does T-A-C? T-A-C is just the reverse of cut. So if I cut count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But if I tuck it, meaning I reverse it now, so it starts from the bottom of the file. So cut is from top down, and tuck will start from the bottom, go up. So it's 12 down to 1. 12 come down to 1. That's the tuck command, more or less. Sometimes files can be very long, right? It's a paging system. Do you all know what's a paging system? That's like if a file is, so like if I go into the man page for PWD, right? So if you use your up and down arrow, right, you can scroll up or down on the system, right? So that movement of the file up and down, that's what you call paging. That's paging, meaning P-A-G-E. right? PAGE. Page as in, turn a page. Now there's two. There's page for more and page for less. More is one way turning pages. More is flipping forward only. So when you use the more command, you can only go forward. So you can go page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. You cannot go backwards with more. And when you do less, the less option, you can go forward and you can go backward. All right? And then there's the strings. If I do which ls, that is that there. And if I do strings on binary. So in the binary, all the string files will be recorded. That's what the output is, right? Oh. Right, so let's go to the practice exercise. Display the first 12 lines of Etsy. So we want a head and we want 12, so we're given it the 12 option for Etsy services. As the first 12 lines, display the last line of Etsy password. So we want the last line, so it's still -1 for Etsy password. It's just the last line. Use cat to create a file named count that looks like this. Well, we already create the cat file. So cat count 1 to 12. Use CP to make a backup copy of this file. ls pwd, right? Use CP, so we copy in. We want to make a backup of the count file. So this is the count file, and we want to make a backup. And they name it count.txt, right? If I was to cat on count.txt, we notice it's the same 1 to 12. Use cat to make a backup of this file to cat count now. So we cat in cat count, right? And we redirecting it to cat count.txt. If I cat count, we get 1 to 12. If I cat, the next one was CNT, we get 1 to 12. And if I cat count, we get 1 to 12. So all these three files are the same, have the same content in it. So if I cat count, it's 1 to 12, and now they are asking you to tack it. So if I tack cat count, if I tack cat count, it will just say reverse 12 to 1. Use more to display Etsy services. So more Etsy services. So let me just cut Etsy services first for you all. I cut Etsy services. And notice how big this is. It's many pages, and automatically, when you type the command, it scrolls straight down to the bottom of the end of the file, then the end of the output. Right, so all this is the output here, and it comes to the end of the output. Now, if you want to use the more or less command, so if I use more on Etsy services, now it stops there. If you look down to the bottom here, more, down to the bottom here. So it says because I put in the more command, it started. Remember, this is the command I gave it. Now, it didn't scroll to the bottom of the page. So like if it's a book with 100 pages, it did not go to page 100. It stopped at page 1, right? And then there's more, saying that we are on 0% so far we covered. Then if I scroll down now, pages started to turn. Right? Now we have turned 1% of the file. 2%, 3%, 4%, like that. Put more command. Paging down until I reach the end of the document. Down in the bottom there, it tells you how much of the document we have covered so far. So far we are at 61% of the document. As in more, display the readable strings character from the user bin. So we want to display user bin password. Display the readable characters, strings from that. So we want the strings from this here. If I was to list user bin password. This is what the user bin password is. It's an encrypted file, right? Because it's the password file. Now if you look at the file here, like down here, there's encryption here, which is not regular strings that you could read. But up on the top here now is strings that like characters, letters, and numbers that we could read. Alphanumeric characters that we can read. So when you put strings into the command, like all this here that is shown here, right, it eliminates all of this. So all of this is taken out. And then just this piece of it now, where you can read, is just this piece is what is output. All right, use ls to find the biggest files in the etc. So we're doing ls.etc. So this lists all the files in the etc folder. But what this is saying is to put an option there to sort by size. So if I do a ls minus al, which is what we did, what we know of so far, we arrange it in an order. Now if we look at the files here coming on in the middle here, right, we'll notice 4.4K, 1.2K, 67K, 4.9K. In terms of size, it is not in a numerical order, whether it's ascending or descending. So if I do an ls minus l, and I'm giving it now the s command, sorry, the s option, s. See, look at what happens now. The size, the files are now sorted by size. So we start from the biggest file, come down. So from here, let me put human readable so it'll be easier to understand. So if we do ls with human readable, we start with 677K, 66K, 38K. So we're starting from big, come down to small, right? If I was to give an up, so this is big to small, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If I was to do the ls, same thing, but I also give it the R option. Look at what happens now. The R option is the reverse. So the R option now, it starts from small and come down to big. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want to sort files now, ls as it is without anything will sort the files alphabetically. So it will sort by name. It will sort on this side here. It'll put it in alphabetical order. If I use ls capital S, it will sort by size. Right? Capital S will sort by size, but it will sort by size recent from the biggest come down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like a countdown. And if you put R option is to reverse that. So we're reversing the countdown. So if I reverse the countdown, it's a count up now. So it will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use cat to create a file. So we're using cat, and we want to create the file called tailin.txt that contains the contents of tailin text. So we want the tailin text file preceded by the contents of etc password. All right. Now, we already have a tailin file, and we want to create a tailin file. So if we copy one tailin file into the other tailin file, it's like a infinite loop then, because you are editing one file while you have the file open. So it's like, let's say in Microsoft Word then, right? So it's like you open two Word documents, two separate Word documents, right? And you are trying to edit one. Like you open it in window A and you open it in window B. Same file. And you're trying to edit in window B. It will not allow you to do it because you already have the file opened elsewhere. So in one file, it will tell you that you can, in one file, one window, you will be able to do the edit. And if you try to edit in another window, it will tell you that the file is open in another window so that you cannot edit it in that window. So this is what is going on here. So basically what we have to do is copy one of the files then into a different name. So let's say we're doing a copy TLN. Okay, we didn't create it yet. Use cat to rename a file to create a file named TLN.txt that contains the contents of TLN text. Oh, use cat to create a file named TLN text that contains the contents of TLN text followed by the contents of etc password. So we cut in etc password into, okay. If we look here, we don't have the TLN text file created yet, because the TLN text file would have come from in the exercises, right? Would have been the TLN text file. Let's just create a file here. So let's do it on count. We'll do it on count. So what we want to do is cat etc password, and one greater than sign overwrites the file, right? So if I was to cut etc password, so let me do it for you all to see. So if I cut count has 1 to 12, but if I cut the etc password file and I cut it into count, when you have one greater than sign here, what it does is it takes the count file and it overwrites the count file. So it deletes everything in count and it will now read this information into the count file. So if I cut etc password on count, initially count is 1 to 12. But here now, because I put one greater than sign, it will overwrite the count file. So if I cut on count now initially there was 1 to 12, now there's no 1 to 12. Because cut count, it overwrites, right? Here, I am overwriting the count file with this information. Now, if I cut, cut count. So if I cut count into count, I take out the etc password information and I put back 1 to 12. If I was to cut the etc password and I put count, it will overwrite the count file and put the etc password. But if I put double greater than sign means to append. So it will not overwrite the file now. It will put this information into the file, but it will not delete the original count file. So if I cut count and I cut on count now notice initially the count file had the numbers 1 to 12. So this is the command here. So this is the command up here, cat etc count. Initially, the count file was the numbers 1 to 12. So we have 1 to 12. And then we cut in etc password. So this now is the additional information from etc password file that we are adding into it here now. So what you have to learn from this now is one greater than sign overwrites the file, and two greater than signs do not overwrite the file. It adds onto the file. All right. So now we go on to the file tree system now. So if I ls root, so this is the top of the directory, the top of the file system, and these are the folders in the top of the file system. Now, as you proceed, right, you will get to learn with practice what each one of these folders does, right? What it does, what is the information contained in it, what do you use it to do, right? So EFS, I don't know what that is. Bin is binaries. So this is where all the code, the programs would be stored. Boot is when you boot in, this will have the system files. Dev, that is for device. Anytime you plug a device onto your system, like if it's a USB or an external monitor or a hard drive or something. That's what this dev is to read that additional media attachment to your system. Well, I explained what etc file was before. Etc file is just like a combination of different things. The home is the home directory for each user, lib and lib64. So this is lib, but is 32-bit binaries. So some systems will have this as lib32, library 32, 32-bit. This one is 64-bit. This is your media point. This is your mount point. Mount is when you are, so when you mount an, you all will come on to mountain at the end, if you all continue at the end of this Linux course. When you all go on to a more advanced course, you will learn what mountain is. Mountain is not in this particular course that you're all doing right now. It's an advanced piece of Linux, right? So if you are going into the next part, which is the Red Hat systems, we will do mount. But basically what mount is anytime you plug, let's say you plug a USB drive into your computer in normal Windows, eventually Windows does everything for you. So, Windows will tell you new media device plugged in, and they will tell you wait because the driver is being updated or something. And then they will tell you, okay, hardware is ready for use. So the Windows system does it for you, but this is what it does in mount now. Mount is where you are actually going to do it yourself. Opt is optional. We're putting in options, different options in the system. Proc is for your processes. Each command that you run is a process that is being run. And this is what the proc folder has. It has all the processes. Root is so this is one root. / is a root. And then you actually have the root folder now. So / is the home. That's like the main, the top, the root of the entire system. And root here is like the super user then. So in Windows system, like what you all would call the administrator, like the person who has access to everything on the system, like who could create passwords, users, and add and delete users. That is the equivalent administrator. That is what root is called in Unix system. You call it as root. So if you all were looking, some of the commands as a regular user, I could not have done it. And you would have seen I would have had to switch to root to get it done. So I had to give myself access or authoritative privilege, meaning that I have no restrictions. I can do what I want on the system. So then there's your run folder. So the binaries. So there's binaries here is one binary, and this S binary is for system binaries now. Right? Serve does system resources. Sys is the system folder. Temp is a temporary directory. User is actually Unix system. I think it's Unix system resources, and var is the variables folder. So the var folder will be an important folder that you'll be dealing with, and that is when things are happening on the system that is not persistent, meaning that it changes. It will go into the var folder. So the var folder is a variable folder, and it doesn't really store anything. It like deletes stuff. So like I say, if you want to read to learn all these things, that's fine. But my best advice to you is, just read it once if you want. But with practicing it over and over, you will eventually get to know what each one of these folders does. Now, in the different levels you go, gradually as it become more advanced, you will start to use more of the folders. So right now we're using home. We will use root. That's all you're going to be using now, right now, home and root. After that, you're going to go on to etc. After this now, when you finish this course, and if you're going on to a more advanced course, then we will come into the boot, the dev, the mount, the proc, and the variable file. That's in a more advanced course now. So Sidhu, I believe you was in the class on Saturday. You would have seen that they were doing stuff with the using these folders.
Yes.
If we do here, hi, This is for hierarchy. A man here. It's a description of the file system hierarchy. So it's all those files that I just told you about. Bin, boot, dev, etc. It just goes in into all the folders and it just tells you what is the purpose of the folder and what is done in it. Right? So remember the man pages, right? The man pages is your guide. When you don't know something, use the man pages. Right? So it has all the folders that I just explained and a little meaning. We'll just read this one. Root, this is the root directory. This is where the whole tree starts. So this is the beginning. This is like the, I don't know what your religion is, but this is like, let me say the Brahma of the system, the creator, right? It will come from here. The root, everything originates from this. And then from that, this is the bin, contains the executable programs which are needed in single user mode to bring the system up or repair it. Remember I showed you bin and there's another one, S bin. So we have S bin over here. So it's like bin, as I said, but this directory holds the commands needed to boot the system, which is not executed by a normal user. So the bin, which is the binaries, would be the normal user commands, and the S bin is the system binary. That is like commands that the operating system is going to be using for like booting up and things like that. That is what the S bin is. When you are booting your OS, when you start to boot it, you would see a set of lines, code running for itself, and the system is doing something without you actually having an input. That is where the commands that that system is running, that's where it comes from, this sbin folder here. Everybody good so far? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, are you all good so far?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, hi. So we up on now, we're going on onto regular expressions now, right? We're going to go on into the shell expansion. So the first section that we have completed there was basically files, like creating a file, deleting a file, copying a file, moving. So it's like copy, paste, add, delete, right? That was the first part of it. Now the second section, we're going on onto the commands and arguments and the meaning of it. Now I would have done this in the first class with you all. So if I was to echo, what city are you all in? Give me a city name. What?
Kolkata. Kolkata, India. No, it's KO.
It doesn't matter.
Kolkata,
K-O-L-K-T-T-A. Okay.
Kolkata, India.
Not Kolkata. Which is Echo Paris. So Echo just prints back the command, right? So we echo Paris. If I echo Paris is in France. Paris is in France. If I echo Paris is in France. If I echo Paris is in France. Notice what happens here. It removes the extra spaces, right? Kolkata. All right. If I echo Kolkata. What's it there? 1T.
Kolkata.
So if I echo Kolkata, right? This is what happened. If I echo Kolkata is in India, that's what happens. If I doing this now, but I am increasing the spacing between the words now. So if I increase the spaces here, India. Look at what happens. So I'm echoing Kolkata with a set of spaces, but notice it removes the space. So this is what the echo command does. It will take the string, right? It will remove all the white space.
Okay.
And when it put in the output, it will print the output with only one white space in it. Okay?
Okay.
So that's our one there. We did arguments. Echo is argument. Which number is echo? Argument what? 0.
0.
Calcutta is argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, and argument 4. So this is echo. If I wanted to echo Calcutta is in India, it comes like this. Calcutta is in India. If I echo Calcutta is in India, it comes like that. If I echo Calcutta is in, and let's say I wanted to stress India, so I leave a space here, it still removes this space, right? But if I wanted to leave this space now, what you do is you actually put a quotation in, you put it in quotation. Now, when you quote something, you put quotations, it reads this entire thing as a string, as one string.
Yeah.
So if I enter this now, notice up here, without the quotations, it removes the space between in and in there. It removes the space and put only one white space. But when I quote it now, I put everything in quotation. It actually treats this whole thing as one argument. So before, this is argument 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you quote it, this whole thing here is considered argument 1. So that's why it will print it like that here now. Why would you do that? Because I do not want the space to be removed. So notice the space is there. So without quotation, it removes the white space. And with quotation, it leaves the white space, right? Single and double quotes will also leave the white space. So I did it with single. I'm doing it with double now. So I did it with double. Notice it still stays there. But what is the difference between single and double now? Now there's something called parsing, right? Where you wanted to interpret something within the command. Now, when you want parsing to take place, you would use the double quotes. And when you don't want parsing to take place, you use the single quote, right? So let me clear. So if I echo Kolkata is in India. So echo Kolkata is in India. It comes as this, right? If I echo and I wanted to do shell expansion now, so I give it an option. Right? Kolkata is in India. And I want shell expansion, so I give it the -e option, right? I quote it because I want to treat it as one string, right? Now, if I do this here, in front of in India, I put /n. What is /n? Anybody remember what /n is? /n is new line.
New line.
New line.
New line. So if I enter, notice what happens. It reads now, Kolkata is in, and it wants to print India, but because it's C/n, it interprets, and that's what the -e is now. Interpret these special words now. /n will say, okay, before we go to India, we're going to go to a new line. So here's same line, same line, same line, same line. But when we reach the backward /n now, it says, oh, backward /n means go to a new line. So we from in now, it comes to a new line here. And then we continue in India. Right? N, it works with T, which is a tab. So if we notice now, Calcutta is in India. There's one space. And if you look at it here now, the space is bigger because we put a /t now. Right? The command works both single. We did it single. Let's do it double. It works still with double too, right? /n, new line, /t, tab, It still tabs it here. Now, if you want to know whether a command is built-in, meaning that it is built into the system, or it is external from the system, we just use the word type. So if I was to do type ls, so ls is alias for that. Let me do type pwd. So it says here pwd is built into the system. So the operating system has the pwd command. If I was to type cat, so cat is external. Now, when it's external, it gives the location where it is located on the system. So if I go into the user, that's Unix system resources. That's what it means. It doesn't mean users in Sidu user or Sandeep user. USR is actually Unix. Unix system. So user is Unix system resource. So if we go into the user bin for binaries, and in this user bin, in this folder, remember I told you all, every single command is actually a program that is written on the system. So this is the code for the cat command. So if you go into this here, we'll see the code for cat command. Let's see if we can view it. Cat user bin cat. All right, so that's the code there. How do we get rid of this? The strings, all the things there. Yes. So if I take it out, well, all those funny things will come out. And only the regular text is here. So this will be the code behind the cat command. So type is to determine whether a system is built in, sorry, a command is built into the system or whether it's external. Anybody want to suggest another command for me to test? Built-in or external? Any command? So we did cat, we did pwd. What is another command? cd. So cd is built-in. Type, what else? Head is external. So when it's built-in, you will see built-in. When it's not built-in, when it's external, it doesn't say external. What it does is it gives you the path to where it is, the PATH, the path to where it is, meaning that it's external. It is not contained in the system, but this is the path to where it is located. Then there's more than one system binary for a command, and if you are running one, we can use which. Okay, look at type for CP. Right. So if I do a whereas, we would have encountered whereas before. If I do a whereas for the ls command, we will see that ls command is written in one directory here. So this is one form of the ls command, user bin ls. Then ls is also written here. In this zip file here, there's the ls command. And in this zip file here, there's also the ls command. Now, if you want to know which ls command, because the ls command is written once, twice, and 3 times, all you do is we just type which ls, meaning which one of these ls are we using. And over here it tells you it is using in the user bin ls. So it's this one of the ls we are using. Generally speaking, the one that you use will be listed first. So if I type where is pwd, so if I do pw, right, where is there? So if I do pwd, there's a pwd here, there's pwd here, and there's pwd here. If I do make directory, there's make directory here, make directory here, make directory here, make directory here, make directory here. All these are make directories. But if I want to know, so let's say for the PWD, that's this line here. We have it three different locations. If I want to know which one I am using, I am just use which PWD. Which PWD? So these are the 3 locations. It will be using the PWD, this one here. Now, if I wanted to use a command, look at is touch. All right. If you wanted to use a particular PWD, all you do is you just put the location. So if I just write user bin PWD, it means I want to use that PWD program. If I enter, notice I didn't type PWD, I put the actual location where the file is contained, the program, and it prints where I am. If I wanted to use this version of it, all I do is I just type that. Right? That's all I do. Okay? And that's how you would use the various commands on the system. Now there's something called the alias, which we would have seen just now. If I say which ls, now notice it tells me it is alias, meaning ls. ls is the list command, and these are the options we set it. And you can now define it as a variable ls. So if you want to create your own alias now, so let's say I want to ls here. So let's look at cat test. So cat test has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Let's say I want to tack test. Tack test will be the reverse, which will be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But these are the commands that we are given. We are given cat and we are given tack. But let's say I wanted to create my own command, alias. I would use an alias, alias, give it a name equal 2 quotations and whatever the command is. Right? So let's say I want the alias to be called Sandeep. And what the command is I wanted to do is to, let's say, be tack, meaning the reverse. If I type Sandeep, what happens? It calls for Sandeep, but Sandeep now means tack. So this is if you all did coding, you all should know these things. This is defining variables. So if I call the command Sandeep, the command Sandeep tells me to tack. So tack is really Sandeep. So when I type Sandeep here for test, I am really in effect typing tack for test. So what does tack test do? Tack test is up here. It just displays the file in reverse order 54321. So I displayed 54321. If I type alias Sidhu, let's say Sidhu is equal to cat. So if I Sandeep test, Sandeep is to tack it, put it in reverse order. So it comes 54321. And if I put Sidhu, with the cat. So Sidhu here, when it calls for Sidhu, it looks in the system. What does Sidhu mean? Sidhu means the cat. So what I am trying to say here is Sidhu test, which means the cat test. So if I cat test, it prints it in normal order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So why would we need to create alias now? Sometimes when you go into more advanced stuff, you would have a long command line to write, a very long line. And if you don't want to keep writing that long line, you can just shorten it. So let's say we did this here. Alias, alias, location. location, I'm going to say echo Kolkata is in India. Slash tab is in slash new line. If I create this alias here, location. If I just type the word location, right here. Anybody can tell me where's the error here?
Yeah, actually it's in a single quotation, that's why.
Let's see. We're doing a shell expansion. So it should be a minus C in the front there. So notice location is already default. So Kolkata, tab, so it's a set of spaces in India. Remember we defined India. So this is it here. Echo Kolkata, 3 tabs, 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 set of spaces, 1, 2, 3. And then we have a set of new lines here, which is 3 new lines. So it come 1, 2, and this is the third line. And on the third line, which is this line here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 tabs. So this space will be 7 tabs and then India. So if we had to type this now, this is a long command to type. But what we could do is alias it to location. So all I need to do is just type location and we'll be typing this whole thing. So this is just an easy command here, echo, because you know these things so far. But when we go deeper, when you go deeper, you're going to create more advanced commands on the command line. You'll be creating longer commands, more advanced commands. And you don't want to be typing the same thing repetitively over and over and over. So we create little shortcuts to make your typing easier. Right, if you want to view all the alias on the system.
So what is actually uses the minus C command, minus E option?
Minus E is for expansion. It means the minus E is the shell expand, meaning like this minus T here. It tells me to interpret this as a tab and not the characters /T. I echo, and let's just say I put minus, sorry, Kolkata is in slash, use n, /n. If I echo this here, exactly as it is. Kolkata is in /n India. Kolkata is in /n India. Right? But if I want the /n to be interpreted now as a new line, now I'm telling the system here what going into the shell expansion E. Right? Kolkata is in, and now it will interpret this here now, not as a character n. It will interpret it as a new line now. So now it interprets it as a new line. So notice up here, Kolkata is in India, the N and India same line. And in this second section, when you put in the minus E now, it interprets it as a new line. We can also do man echo if we don't know. Man echo minus E, enable interpretation of the backslash escapes, which is what we are doing, enabling the interpretation of the backslash escape. That's this here, the backslash escape character N for new line. Answer your question?
Okay.
Good. So if you want to find all the alias in the system, you just type alias alone without any options, no arguments. So all these are alias, egrep, fgrep, grep. I never used these things before. I use grep, we use L, we use LL, LS. So these are the ones that I just created, Sidhu, Sandeep, and location. Those are the alias that I created. So if I want to remove those alias now, is on alias. And which alias we want to remove? We want to remove the location alias. We want to remove Sandeep. And we want to remove Sidhu. And if I type back alias, notice location alias is now gone. After LL is LS. After LL is LS. And Sandeep was LS, Sandeep Sidhu, and then XZ egrep. Notice after LS, XZ zgrep. So Sandeep and Sidhu is gone. So to create an alias is alias, put the name and what the alias is equal to. What alias the alias is equal to. And if you want to remove alias, it's just on alias, alias, and the alias name. That's how to remove So here is how to add an alias. This is how to add the alias. Here is how to remove the alias. Just type an alias before the alias name. So that's one. Displaying shell expansion. So here's where we're starting to go into a little more technical stuff now. So to display shell expansion. To display shell expansion, we're going to set it, we're going to turn it on. So to turn it on is -x, right? So displaying the shell expansion is we set it to -x. Now before I display shell expansion, look at what happens. If I echo India, it spits back India to me. If I echo Kolkata, it spits back Kolkata. But if I set the shell expansion on now if I echo India, before it just spit back the India, but now I have shell expansion on. Look at what it does now. Because the shell expansion on, it gives me the answer, but it also tells me what it is I did to get to the answer. So sometimes if you get an output and you don't know how you get the output, I turn in the shell expansion on, it gives you, so India came from echo India. So it tells you what it is, it tells you what you are doing on the system. So if I type clear, so clear is fine, but here is the command for how clear was. So this is the command to clear the system. If I type echo, the other one was Kolkata. So it gives me the answer, but it also tells me it came from echoing Kolkata. What about if I cut count? So if I ls, so this is the command on ls, it's telling me that it is alias, and this is the answer for ls. You all remember count? So if I cut count, this is what is happening. So to cut count, this piece here now is the code here. All this here is the code for it in the system. So from here over here, it begins. It shows everything that is happening. Good. To take it off is you put a plus. So I now take off shell expansion. So if I just echo India, it'll print back India. Echo Kolkata. Echo Kolkata. If I echo Kolkata, but I turn on shell expansion, it spits back what the command is. Right? So that is shell expansion. So let's do the shell expansion off. So take off shell expansion there. Model tests. Go in there. How many arguments are in the line? Not counting the command itself. So if I say echo, let's see, run. Okay, this one doesn't have it, so I'll say prawn.daily on daily on India. How many commands on this line here? Arguments, sorry. How many arguments are there on this line?
0, 2.
How much?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
Sorry. 0, 1. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, very good. There's 4 arguments on this line. Remember, this is argument 2. That's argument 1, argument 2, third argument, fourth argument. But in terms of naming, so there are 4 arguments on the line. But in terms of the actual position, this is argument 0, argument 1, argument 2, and argument 3. So in numbering, so if I say which is argument 2, 0, 1, 2. So argument 2 is actually in there. So if the question is how many arguments are on the line, there's actually 4 arguments on the line. If they tell you exclude the command, remember I told you argument 0 is usually the command. So I take out the command echo. So it's just these here is the arguments we are looking for now. So etc cron daily, that's argument. That'll be the first argument. India will be the second argument, and Kolkata will be the third argument. Good. Is tac a built-in command? So we want to find out if it's built-in or not. Clear type tac. So it has a path. So it means it is not built-in. It's external. Is there an existing alias for RM? Alias RM? No. RM not found, meaning that there's no alias for RM. So if I do an alias here, there's no RM on alias on remove. Reman page of RM, make sure you understand the minus I option. We did minus I. What does minus I say to do? Minus I option is what? Interactive.
Interactive.
It will prompt. So if I ls, let's look at test. If I want to remove test, I will just do an automatic delete. But if I put the minus I option, it will prompt me. Are you sure you want to delete this file?
Yeah.
So it's asking if I want to remove thing. If I say no, and I do a ls, test is still there. If I put it and I say yes, now it will delete it. But this test is not there anymore. Alias rm minus I, test your alias with the test file. We just did that. List all the current alias, ALIS, that's all the current alias. Create an alias called city that echoes your hometown. We did this already. Alias city is Kolkata. City equal echo Kolkata. QLKTA. Echo Kolkata. Conditions. If I type city, so when I type city, what does city mean? City means the Echo Kolkata. What does Echo Kolkata means now? It just means echo whatever you are given, which is Kolkata. So just take Kolkata and spit it back out. All right, create an alias. Use your alias to test that it works. Okay, we don't do it already. Set -x on, so we shut in shell expansion on. And if I type city, look at what it says now. So I put on the shell expansion, and then we're doing a test with city. So city says to echo Calcutta, that's what it says. And what does the command? So city tells me to echo Calcutta. And what does echo Calcutta mean now? It means take the argument here and give it as the input, as the output Calcutta. Is that clear? Yeah?
Yes, clear.
All right, so we want to remove the shell expansion now. So remember to remove is to add x. Select there. So I remove the thing. So if I type city now, initially when shell expansion was on up here, this is what the output was. So initially shell expansion is on. So when I type city, it tells me what is exactly happening. City goes to echo Kolkata. Echo Kolkata gives me the output Kolkata. When I take off the shell expansion, in other words now, over here I take it off now. So when I take off the shell expansion, basically I don't want to see what is happening behind the system. In the background, let the system do that in the background. I just want the final answer. Give me the final answer. Next command, remove the alias. So these are my aliases. I want to remove the alias city. So to remove an alias is not rm, it's on alias and city. And alias, I check back the alias. So up on the top here, we have the alias city equal echo Calcutta, and then we have egrep. And then when I unalias here, I remove it. Now the city echo goes. So this is the city echo Calcutta, and down here there's no city echo Calcutta. Clear? If I type city now, and remember I remove it. So city, let me type city and see what happens. Command not found. So the city does not exist anymore. Where is city? There's no city because we just removed the city command. City alias, sorry. What is the location of cat and passwords? Which cat and password? So cat is in the user bin cat, and password file is in the user binaries password. Explain the difference between the following command, echo and bin echo. What is the difference between echo and bin echo? So echo is just to echo the command, and slash bin echo. All right, where is echo? We see there are multiple locations where echo is. And if we just type echo alone, it will use the built-in echo. And if I type slash bin slash echo, or user bin echo, what I am going to do is I am going into this one of the echo. So I'm using the echo, the external command echo, right? So echo Kolkata. Echo Kolkata is the system built-in echo. So that's one command file, one file you are using. And if I use user bin echo Kolkata, I'm using a different version of the echo command. So it's like another program written on the system. So this is like, let's say program A for echo, and this is like program B for echo. In both instances, I am still getting the same correct answer, Kolkata. But in this one, I'm using the built-in system command, which is program A. So I'm using program A to get the echo. And in this one, I'm using a different system. I'm using program user bin echo to get to Kolkata. That's the difference in it. Explain the difference between the following commands. Echo hello, so we want to echo hello, and we get that, and we want to echo -n hello. What happens with the -n now?
-n is new line.
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
So I do not know if you all see what happened here. If we echo hello, hello comes on a new line. If we echo -n hello, in the new line here, at the end of the word hello, there's a /n that comes here to take Rakesh localhost onto a new line. But when we put the -n, you remove that new line. So in other words, the hello now has no new line, so the hello comes in the front here. So this piece here, which is Rakesh localhost, should come on a new line. But notice it does not come on a new line. It continues after hello, because I put the -n, which means remove the new line character. So normally echo hello will print hello, and then there's a /n here that tells me go to a new line. And when you go to the new line, then this will print on the new line. But when I put echo hello -n, this new line that would usually be in the front here, it's now deleted. So because it removes this, then this line here now, instead of it starting on a new line, it will come here. Make sense? Yeah. All right, so we're looking at spaces now. Echo ABC. Echo ABC. Now they're telling you to echo ABC with a space. So it's echo ABC. If I put a big C with no quotations, it will remove the extra space. If I do the same thing, but I put quotations now, it will not remove it because it will treat this. So over here, there's 3 arguments here, excluding the command line. There's 3 arguments. Over here, there's 3 arguments, but over here, there's only 1 argument. And the 1 argument is ABC because it's in quotation. So when I print it, I will get the additional space coming in here. Complete the following command. Do not use spaces to display exactly the following. So it's echo -e, because we want a shell expansion and we want 4 plus 4. We want a space, so we'll put a tab, equal 8. We get 4 plus 4, space with 8. Right, we want 10 plus, and then we want on a new line, so we /new. So on a new line, type 10 plus 14, tab, 10 plus 14 equal 24, Get it? 4 plus 4 equal 8, 10 plus 14 equal 24. So notice how this looks nice and easy to read, human readable. Let me take off 1 tab. Right. So this is how the command looks, all jumbled up and kind of difficult. It's not clear to read, but this option here makes it into easy human readable form. Good. All right, use echo to display the following exactly. Question mark. All right, use echo 1. Use 1 echo command to display 3 words on 1 line. So it's echo shell expansion, quote what you want to expand, and we want to display 3 words on 3 lines. So Kolkata /new line is /new line in /new line India. Notice there's no spaces, there's no tabs, there's no new lines, but the output here is written perfectly fine where we can understand it. Next one, use, so there was this one, use echo to display question mark. So if I just do echo question mark and backslash backslash. Notice what my output is, question mark and one backslash. But the question is, which one of the backslash is the one that is printed? Is it the first backslash or the second backslash? The answer is it is the second backslash that is printed. It is this one. So it's question mark, backslash, backslash. This backslash here is actually this backslash that is printed, not the first one. Because the first one just say ignore, it means escape. So it escape the next character, meaning don't let this do what it's supposed to do. Treat it as a normal text character. Right? So when you print, is that there. How do you get rid of a backslash? We can either quote it. So we'll treat this whole thing as a string. So we get the double question mark and the backslash. Or what we could do is one backslash will escape the first backslash. So this will give me one backslash, right? If I do it double again, it will print the second backslash now. So echo so this backslash here, this backslash will be the escape character to print the first backslash. So this first backslash is this first backslash. And then this one will give the command to escape, meaning tell the system print this backslash. So this backslash here now will actually be this backslash. So the first backslash, this one and this one, is not printed. This is actually this one, this one. So there are multiple ways to get something done on the system. All right, control operators. Okay, I'll stop here for today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'll stop here for today. Or you all want to continue?
No, sir.
No?
We can practice. No, sir. We will need to practice
cool.
this one.
Yeah, no problem. So like I say, with practice, doing it over and over, eventually you will get it, right?
Yes, sir.
It will start to stick in your head. So just a simple, quick question for you all to think about. When you all started this, you all may have been not clear, many doubts what is taking place. But now things should start to falling into place. Like what is, let's take it basic. Like what is LS? What does LS do? What is PWD? What does PWD? What is cut?
Yeah.
And gradually you'll start to see it sinking in that you don't need to memorize it. Like if I tell you where are we in the system, automatically PWD comes into your mind. If I tell you I want to know what is the visible files and folders, automatically LS comes to mind, the type LS. So like I say, as time go along, do not be overwhelmed or start to panic that it is too much to learn, because in the beginning it is like that, because it's a new way of learning to use the system, right? But as we go through the chapters and you're seeing, notice certain commands are being repeated over and over, especially echo. So in this particular exercise, we use the echo command a lot and the ls command. So as we move through doing the exercises, you will start to use commands over and over until it becomes so many practice that it will stick in your head. So I know it's a lot of commands that we did, or new information, especially the setx, turning on the expansion, right? Especially that one, displaying the shell expansion, right? But with practice and as we go along and you all get more experience, gradually it becomes easier and easier as you go along. So no need to panic, don't get frightened, don't get worried. All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow.
Yeah,
Any questions? Any questions, by the way? Anybody have any questions?
I don't have, sir. Sandeep.
Sandeep, any questions?
No, sir, I don't.
Sandeep, are you on a computer or are you still on a phone?
Phone only, sir.
Okay.
Actually,
You'll need to get a computer because
actually,
you all will have to start to do these questions sometime. Right? So I will give you all some questions to do and I will want to see you all type in it. Right?
Okay.
These some easy questions, nothing to panic. It's just to see that you all grasping the concepts. I will not give any trick questions or anything. It's just basic things. So like I might say, create a file, list the file. So it's just touch. We say touch sudo. And if I tell you find the details of the file, it's BLS and you have to put the options ELH for me. Right? Simple things like that. You all will need to do that. Eventually, Sir will test you all also, right? He will call you in probably on a Sunday and give you all a test to see how you all are progressing. Nothing to panic about. Once as you all attend the course, you will be fine. Cool. Any questions again? Everybody's good? So we meet tomorrow, same time. So
Okay.
notice, you can stop recording now, Sidhu.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.